Our teaching this week is from one of our neuro coaching sessions at the Mindsight Women's Network. And I've taken out the teaching and removed all the discussions for you to enjoy today. So I've left descriptions for the network in the description below. Enjoy this session. My name is Maureen Chiana, and I'm the CEO of the Mindsight Academy, founder of Mindsight Women's Network, and host on Lead to Excel podcast. Enjoy this session. So today we're going to go a bit deep into emotions and the brain. So I want us to do a quick exercise. Our first exercise is this. I want you to just think about a white bear. So I'm going to give you 1 minute to just visualize. You can close your eyes, you can open your eyes, you can do whatever you want, but just visualize a white bear. And I want you to kind of create a story around this bear. So kind of think about it. So it might be thinking about it in a positive light. You might think about it in a negative light. It's up to you. But just think about a white bear. What do you think? What emotions are you feeling? And I'll just stop talking and just let you process that. Now, I want you to stop thinking about the bear. Just don't think about the bear now. Just think about something else. And you can think about whatever you want to think about, but not the bear. And I want us to kind of do this now for maybe another minute, actually. But just think about something else, not that white bear. When you started thinking about the bear, how many of you kind of thought about it in a positive way? And then when I said stop thinking about the bear and think about something else, how many of you actually did not think about the bear again? How many of you were able to wipe that memory off and you were able to think about something else? Raise your hand. How many of you couldn't do that? The bear kept coming back. Okay, interesting. Okay. That exercise, if you do it again, maybe yourself, but maybe for longer, just kind of stop thinking about it for longer. It would be interesting to see. For those of you that actually did not think about it, it would be interesting to know if you were able to not think about it for 3 minutes or 4 minutes. It would be interesting to see. Because what happens a lot of times is when you try to stop thinking about something or say, I'm not going to think about something, you actually keep thinking about it. And it's that whole process of trying to suppress a thought process. What your brain then does is that it keeps bringing it to the forefront. In the process of trying to suppress it, it keeps bringing it up. And the main part of the brain that does that is our prefrontal cortex. That's the conscious brain. It's telling your subconscious brain that we need to suppress this thought. I need to suppress it. So what it's doing is trying to suppress it, but the subconscious is still going into your brain to link up with memories you've created. That was why I said create a story around it. So it's those stories that the subconscious brain goes to pull on. And that's why it's a lot of times it becomes difficult to suppress it. If you were able to do it for a long time, that is fantastic, because that is what we really want our brain to be doing. But the thing is that most times when you do it for a long period of time, especially with something that you've created a strong emotion around, you find that you can't do it. We talk about this a lot. What you focus on expands. It's important that if there's an emotion or a thought that you want to get rid of, it's important to not focus on, I want to get rid of it. I want to remove this thought. I want to stop thinking this way. I want to stop doing this. The more you're saying that, the more your subconscious will keep bringing it to your consciousness. So what is important to do is create a narrative about what you want. And that's the important thing. So don't focus on what hasn't happened or what you really want to get rid of. Focus on that thing that you really want to create, or that thought you want to have. In the quiet moments of reflection, do you ever feel the tug of something greater waiting to unfold within you? Welcome to the Mindsight Women's Network, a sanctuary for the soul designed with you, a woman of faith at heart. As daughters, mothers, leaders, every woman walks a path sprinkled with crossroads and challenges. But what if you could harness the wisdom of Scripture, the insights of emotional intelligence, and the breakthroughs of neuroscience to illuminate your journey? With the Mindsight Women's Network, those limiting beliefs that once stood like giants on your path, they'll crumble. The traumas of yesterday, they'll lose their grip. Here, you will discover how to rewire your mind and reclaim your emotions, empowering you to step confidently into your divine identity. Your time to rise is now. Choose transformation. Choose community. Choose you. Join the Mindsight Women's Network today. Embrace the journey of a lifetime. Click the link to register now. Your path to empowerment is just one step away. What I want us to talk about today is now emotions. And I'll just explain a bit and then get into it. Now, one of the things that I talk a lot about is the emotional brain. And it's that whole, it's the, where are we? There it is. Deep within the brain, you have that emotional brain. So you've got your prefrontal cortex, that is that frontal part. And this is the part of the brain that we think with, we're able to visualize, we're able to reason, we're able to plan. So that's the frontal part of the brain. Deep inside the brain is the emotional brain. The key aspect of the emotional brain is that when information comes into our brain through our senses, what it does, there are two main organs in the emotional brain. And who remembers what they are? We're in the classroom now. Two main organs in the emotional brain that are important. What are they called? You can unmute and speak. Amygdala, hijack. And what's the other one? Who remembers? Starts with an H. Hippocampus. Yeah, hippocampus. So those are the two. Now, what the amygdala does is that it's scanning to see any information coming in. And then what it does, it assesses it against the hippocampus. The hippocampus is where we create memory. It's almost like creating the story around the memory that we're creating. So it gives it depth in a way. So short-term memory is usually stored in the hippocampus, and that's why they're close. So that when information comes in, the amygdala is scanning to see if there's anything in the hippocampus, other parts of the brain that have something similar or have a memory relating to that information. So that information coming in could be a thought, it could be something somebody says, it could be an experience, something that you're experiencing. Whatever it is, it's scanning. And if the information is there, then the amygdala will use that information with other connections in the brain to then make you take an action. So for example, if somebody says something to you, you might suddenly find yourself really reacting to it really quickly, either getting angry, getting sad, or it might be a quick response to it. And then later you might ask yourself, why did I even react that way? Or why did that upset me so much? I don't understand why that really got to me. And the reason why is that there's something that your brain has picked up and then it's responding to. And that response will start in form of an emotion, because the amygdala has picked up that thing, picked up the memory, and then it will then make you carry out an action. And that action could be either to do with the flight, fright, or freeze. So it either could make you flee, it either could, for example, always use the example that if a rat, literally, or in fact, not even if anything runs across this room, that it's dark. I will leave you guys here and I'll be out of this door. So before I won't even sit down to see what it was. As far as I'm concerned, my brain will go rat, and I can't stand rats. So I'll literally be out. So before my conscious brain will even process it, subconsciously, the information has already transferred for me to take the action. So I won't even think, I will go for it. And that's the same principle that we use when there's a strong emotional reaction. Our prefrontal cortex gets deactivated because the oxygen is taken from it to pass to our muscles for us to either fight or flee or even freeze. And that's why you can go in for an exam after preparing so much and forget everything because of the nerves. And that's because your prefrontal cortex has been deactivated. That's why you could prepare a talk or prepare something and go into the meeting and literally forget everything. And I've told the story of how that happened to me when somebody introduced me to a company, and I really wanted to do so good because I had come through introduction. And then when I got there, every question they asked me, honestly, I could not remember. I felt so stupid. I felt so silly. Couldn't remember anything. As I came out of that interview, before I even got in the lift, I literally had pressed to call the lift. Before the lift came, all the answers kept flooding back. And it didn't make sense to me. I couldn't understand why. Why didn't I remember any of that? But that's exactly what had happened because I was so nervous, because I wanted to do so good. I wanted to do so well. I had literally activated my emotional brain that my frontal cortex had shut down. And it happens a lot. If you're really nervous, you might find that your intestine, your tummy, you start feeling uncomfortable. And also, if you're very stressed, you might find that you wet yourself. That's because the other place is the urinary tract. The oxygen is taken from there as well. So this is a quick overview of what happens in the brain. Now, one of the things that is so, I would say, interesting is how emotions are made. And there's a lot of back and forth in science at the moment in terms of, are they made, are they constructed? Now, there's a school of thought that says that it's almost like your fingerprint, that when something happens, the neural pathways in the brain work together to create a specific reaction. It's almost like if there's a death, everybody would be sad, and you will know they are sad by their facial expression. Now we know this is not exactly true, because sometimes you can look at people and not even understand what's going on inside. So the fact they might be sad, but not showing it, but not having an expression. And what actually creates a lot of how people respond or react or expression is to do with experiences. Could even be culture, could be a lot of things. So there's a school of thought that emotions are constructed. That means that when something happens, the neurons in the brain start firing to create a response based on the wiring or the memory that is already in the brain. So that means that two people can experience the same situation or be in the same situation, but experience it very differently. If that's the case, that means that we can actually adapt, change, determine how we respond, or the kind of emotions we have, or even pay attention to the emotions. One of the reasons why I wanted us to do this exercise is that when things then happen, or there's an emotional response that is beyond your control, that has come from things that are in memory, that your body, your brain is picking up, that's stored in memory, you now can actually do something about it. One of the things to not do is suppress it, but is to actually recognize what it is and then create a new narrative. Because when you try to suppress, it will keep coming up. So it's to now create a new narrative. So the key thing is to be able to understand what the emotion is And then you can even go as far as what is creating this emotion. Why do I have this emotion? Where has it come from? Why am I feeling this way? It's always a good question. And then find the narrative and then change the narrative. So reflect on what you're thinking and your emotions, and make sure that you're being intentional about what you think and what you do. And look forward to seeing you in another episode next week. Bye for now.